Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another scene of Doubling in Darkness, the Mage venue. We set the scene at the library where Georgie is walking in, mostly looking for free coffee and, a place to just stay out of the sun for a bit because it's warm, because it's summer, it's annoying. So yeah, she's going over to the coffee machine and gets a coffee and just kind of browses through like this self-help books section while she's slurping her coffee.
At which point, she might spot Theodis already within, browsing through probably a completely separate list of genres. In fact, he probably ends up dawdling because he dawdles around, dawdling out of a price section from which she notices him. Probably carrying three or four books underneath his arm, in his free arm as he tip taps his way over to a table.
She'll see that and just kind of, since he does walk with a cane and she sees the books, so she'll just look over and says, "Do you need a hand with that?"
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm quite all right.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, so. He'll
Georgie will turn back to her books that she's like, she actually grabs one and just kind of brushes through it.
he silently judges her choice of books.
I
Self-help.
mean,
Of all the ancient tomes in this library, she chose a self-help book. I feel like that says more about. Well, I guess it says quite a lot about her, but. He's just gonna sit down. I have to wonder if this library contains any knowledge on the outsiders, actually.
probably not in the normal sections, but that's neither here nor there.
Minnie shows up. She's like, "Oh, hey Georgie, hey Theodis."
Hello.
Hi, looks at Theodis. Oh, you know. Oh, okay, cool. Wait a minute. Oh,
What?
are you how do you know each other?
Your
Colleagues.
hands.
Colleagues, friends. Yeah, okay, check. Then the oh was correct. Hi. She'll actually extend her hand to Theodis. I'm Georgie.
Hey, Georgie, I'm Theodis.
Pleasure to meet you.
Likewise. I'll shake your hand. It's a little bit awkward.
Oh yeah, it's definitely awkward. Like she's looking awkward as well, but it's fine. Then she'll quickly look at Minnie. So Minnie, what's up? What's been happening?
I didn't die.
That's usually a good thing.
Uh, a big bad fight against a demon.
Okay.
Wait, what demon was it this time?
Yeah.
Uh, Oh, some kind of purple lady.
Oh, I don't think that's canon until all the scenes are done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think it's all 4 scenes, and
Hmm.
then we get to talk about it. Because
Alright.
yeah, we get trapped if we go in, and we basically have to not die.
Ignore me then.
No, but we will ignore what you just said. So, Minnie, what's up?
Uh, not much. You know, just feel like going out today. I'm sorry, guys.
It's cool.
Abner, you're okay.
Yeah, Papa is not helping, is he?
Uh,
So, you didn't feel like going out today and you went to the library?
I just.
Dublin seems to have a bad homeless dog problem, doesn't it? I think one is in the library. Maybe we need to find it.
I swear to God, I will just silence this entire library.
I did feel like going out. That's why I'm at the library.
Oh, sorry, then I misheard you. Okay.
It's okay.
Actually, kind of the question remains the same. If you did like going out, why would you go to the library?
What's wrong with the library?
Yeah, what's wrong with the library?
There's nothing wrong with the library per se. They have free coffee. But, you know, if you want to go out and meet people, the library is usually not the most. Then again. You know what?
At that
Never mind.
point,
Yeah, go on.
you see Damien, fresh-faced, a little bit of sweat on his brow. It actually looks as if he has gone jogging just before, has come in. Now he's having a towel in his hand, wiping off. Oh, hello, guys. I just thought I'd have a quick cardio before doing some more research. And he comes in and wipes the sweat off.
Oh, interesting. What are you researching? I'm currently trying to discover how to cancel the apocalypse.
Mood.
Apocalypse? I must
Yeah.
have missed something.
There's always one happening.
Okay.
You'll get
Oh
used
yeah,
to it.
haven't you seen the giant green moon that's trying to, well...
I mean, yeah, I seen it, but like it's gone now, right?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
No, so
It's still out there.
long story short, a vampire is attempting to destroy the world by summoning an outside cosmic force into it. And has brought out the worst in all people, ourselves included, in order to make this happen.
Huh.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure we can make it through this.
This is my
Well,
first
at least, yeah,
apocalypse, so trying to
at
take
least in.
chances.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. You go ahead.
Well, at least it seems that everyone is pulling together, or at least most. I myself have already gone to Master Siren and told him I'll be helping out as good as I can. And to answer your question from before, I'm researching on the Umbra, trying to get a map together of that, and I'm trying to figure out how the sphere of mind works as to tap
Oh,
into it.
Oh, Minnie snorts at the idea of mapping the Umbra.
that's interesting. I've actually, well, no, I believe you were there. I procured a map that leads to some lost city in some far off realm has some sort of lock on it. I'm trying to encourage my own knowledge of the mind in order to unravel it, discover what exists on the other side.
Well, I think I have a riddle that may help.
Out with it.
What is the sound of one hand clapping?
Damien takes his hand, places it close to his neck, and starts clapping like that.
That's not the answer.
That was actually a pretty smart literalist solution, though, I have to admit.
Yeah, but it doesn't work because you can slap it in your neck and it makes one sound, or you can slap it on the table and it makes another sound. So that doesn't work. I'd say you would hear them. Maybe if you can listen close enough, if you can amplify that sound, you'd hear molecules of air.
Isn't it just silence?
Yeah. But I suppose even molecules would make a sound if your hearing is.
No, silence isn't the answer. I could tell you which answers are wrong. I can't tell you the right answer.
I've never been real good at these riddles.
Mm,
I mean, it's supposed to make you think.
well, that's the purpose of most riddles, but I don't really understand the premise.
It's supposed to help you understand the mind sphere.
I don't see how it helps you understand the mind sphere. Is it just meant to get me to imagine? To
No,
expand? I know it's meant to expand on my mind in some sense because all spheres require understanding, but
My old teacher used to throw these riddles at me. I sucked at it.
one time in elementary school, I solved a riddle too fast for a teacher and she ignored me. She asked me what the volume of an empty hole was and gave us the dimensions. And I immediately raised my hand and said 0 because it was empty. It didn't have any volume. And she
Yeah.
ignored me.
Or in like infinite, because nothingness is basically infinite.
That's true. She waited until somebody else answered before she accepted it.
Well, I guess you could make the argument that that's actually a bit of a double bind because to clap with one hand and how that would sound. I mean, I'm using my eyes to see around, for example, but I can't see my eyes themselves unless they would start getting cloudy and then I would have to go to an eye doctor. It's the same as you can't bite your own teeth. Seems a bit of a double bind to me.
See, this is why you don't understand the mind sphere.
Now, maybe if you want to understand the mind sphere, you should start with something simple. And Georgie will, pick up one of the self-help books that she just gathered, which is like a meditation for beginners book.
Damien looks at it and just comments, "Well, I am able to meditate."
I don't really.
It's actually quite relaxing to clear your head.
Uh,
Ironically, I find it distracting.
I mean, I'm not very good at it, to be honest, which is sort of annoying, given what group I belong to. But so far I've managed to relax a little by it, but it's still I'm having a hard time like clearing your mind of any thoughts. Because even if you think of nothing, you think of nothing. You still think of something because you think of nothing, and then once you get into that kind of thought process, it just
It circles around.
That's just solipsism.
would means that you will never get to actually clear your mind.
Well, there's nothing to be gained from solipsism that's meaningless. One could argue that solipsism leads to nihilism.
And this is why I don't really meditate that much.
Mm.
Yeah, the fun is, I know that in theory, what they say constitutes the human being. What have we got here? First, we've got the body, the animal self, the one that just wants to indulge the more animalistic behaviors and, just do its thing. Then you've got the ego itself, and sometimes I'm not even sure if that is more linked to the body or more to the mind. And then supposedly there's also the soul, or that part of the greater consciousness, if one subscribes to such a theory. But if that were the case, I wonder if the ego were nothing else than a mask of the soul, so to speak. What do you guys
Oh, for
think?
real.
Well, mind and spirit are two separate spheres for a reason. And, of course, there is life. All of these are distinct.
Yeah, but I suppose on a higher level of consciousness, they might all be connected again. But that goes for basically everything, because in the end, you can connect everything to each other.
Goes and grabs himself a coffee, comes back, sits down.
Yes, I'm trying to reinforce my own understanding of the mind sphere. One, in order to figure out how the hell to read this map, and two,
What map?
I have some sort of map. I remember when I procured it, the Fae gave me some dirty looks. I presume it originally belonged to them.
Faye. Okay,
Hmm.
sure.
Though none of them have attempted to retrieve it, so... They did have the opportunity to procure it. They just didn't invest.
Sounds a whole lot like their problem and not yours.
Pretty much. But then again, this world is hardly fair. Wouldn't surprise me if they try to steal it later down the line.
So all the more reason for you to translate it or understand it or copy it in some sort of way really fastly, I presume.
Very much so. Although I would like to keep it even after I've discovered whatever it leads to.
Then you hand them the fake one.
I don't feel obligated to hand them anything.
Once they come and get it.
If they wish to trade. But I earned this. I actually owe... I owe the auctioneer several favours as a result. If they do not, I'll not pay the price that they should have paid for this item. That would be woefully unfair on myself.
Yeah, I still owe him 3 minor favors. Weird fellow.
I should visit his shop
Dangerous
sometime.
fellow.
What is supernatural yet not dangerous, though? Oh, it's several supernaturals now. Curious how I keep running into them. And to think I should have all people broke into my fucking home.
I have not had the pleasure of running into any kind of other thing than ourselves, and I think I don't really need that.
Trust me, you really don't.
I found most of them to be either destructive to their environment or entirely self-destructive, neither of which is particularly healthy for any of us.
Agreed. Some of us are still pretty squishy.
Do you guys look at Minnie?
Yeah, sure.
She's like, what? Do you mean like emotionally or?
No, more on the physical level.
I would argue on every level. I have not had much luck with them. I've had one which was... Well, there was one... It was a Tremere which was semi-competent. The rest have been...
Who are
slow-motion.
those? Yeah. Who are those Tremere anyway?
According to my people's history, they're effectively traitors.
And who are your people?
The Order of Hermes. Long story short, they were a sect of awakened mages that gave up on ascension to pursue immortality in the form of becoming nocturnal, nightmarish horrors. And now one of them is attempting to destroy the world, which is interesting.
I think I get it. Although one thing surprises me. If they became vampires, wouldn't they have lost their ability to affect the spheres directly? I've got a hard time believing that an avatar would just merrily stick around a technically dead person.
An avatar does not stick around for the death of a person.
So what they are doing is probably some sort of hedge sorcery, blood sorcery, probably.
Oh yes, they crippled themselves so they could live slightly longer lives. They effectively traded their souls out of fear.
That seems like a really bad idea to do, especially if I remember correctly. Sorcery isn't always quite as potent as magic with spheres.
Given how grandiose true magic is, I'm willing to bet money that it was not even intentional and likely a botched spell. No doubt they are researching into other supernaturals. I believe we all do to some extent, and by that I mean all the various orders and traditions and sects of mages out there.
Well, yeah, to be forewarned is to be forearmed, as they like to say.
Yes. Understanding breeds strength. But I doubt they intended to sacrifice so much of their power for what is effectively a half-life. Then again, I do not know the fullest extent of vampire potential. Perhaps they possess more than what I believe. Or than what I understand. In fact, they almost certainly do.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if those were Tremere or if those were Toreadors, but I recently was at Mr. Gold's pawn shop. I actually wanted to ask him about a few things, and then slap bang, I find myself the only breathing fellow amongst the undead. So, understandably, I kept a low profile, managed to excuse myself to at least the hind part of the pawn shop, and next thing I hear is somebody commanding somebody else drink my either blood or vitae. It was hard to hear. Anyway, next thing I know is I see one of the female vampires crash through the wall into the next stall beside me. Let's just say that I jiggered off.
That seems unbelievably vulgar. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Oh well, I was lucky to get out there alive, so
I
should be fine.
I doubt the auctioneer would have allowed harm to come to you within his holdings. He seems very strict on a very particular
Um,
set of rules of a very particular area.
he did inform me about some cursed items that I shouldn't touch, and said something about taking care of his investments. But I didn't want to burden him too much, along the lines of that I would owe him another favor because he saved my skin.
Entirely valid. But no, I've never heard of Toreadors before. I only know of Tremere because, well, we have a history with them.
Well, I actually, and he quickly cracks open his notebook, goes a few pages back. Ah, here we go. At the auction, I found out kindred seems to be a term they use amongst each other. Toreador is a clan. That word also fell. Nosferatu, I guess, a la, the Murnau movie. Probably also a clan, and they talked about a prince and a sheriff. I'm doing a bit of a leap of logic here, but assuming that they might have a more archaic form of regulating themselves, this sounds rather medieval, rather feudal.
Mhm. I mean, at least they sound organized.
Something we
Yes.
could use.
Yes, true. Better they be organized than having succumbed to anarchy. That would be quite the mess. We really don't need more messes to clean up. I feel as if we make enough of them as it is.
Still, it's a bit weird when you walk into a place and suddenly realize that a lot of predatory eyes are staring at you as if you were the most, I don't know, very juicy donut. He nerves nervously.
I'd say steak, but if you think your blood's that sweet, go with donuts.
Oh no, I'm able to channel some quintessence into my acts. Any one of them tries something funny, I'll make them pay for it.
So, what else is in the city, actually? Because I don't believe I've heard of that yet.
Pardon?
what else is there in the city? I mean, so far I've heard of vampires and fae, whatever that is.
Yes. What else? I don't think I've met much else. Well, other than certain infernal spirits, which are either to be fled from or destroyed on sight.
Wraiths exist. I've seen a few. At least according to hearsay, there are werewolves out in the forests further out in the city.
We have Nazis.
You have what?
Nazis.
Martis? What is that?
Nazis. Nazi.
I beg your pardon. What do you mean you have Nazis?
I don't think they constitute a supernatural archetype. As
I
bizarre as
mean,
they are.
I'm a bit confused.
we still fight them.
Fair enough, we should.
Also, I'm not entirely sure that they're not supernatural things.
What?
I
Wait,
said
what?
I'm not entirely sure that they're not are
Wait, Nazis are supernatural? Wait.
At least the ones I've seen.
Okay. But they would have to be at least like 90 years old, if not more, by now.
I feel like we are not on the same page here.
Yeah, I'm missing context somewhere.
There's new Nazis. And one of them was running for treasurer. That was not human.
Are you talking about that new... What? Ireland's own? That new political party that's just popped up?
Yeah. They're basically Nazis.
Oh, well, yes. I don't really...
Okay, fair enough. And I thought you were talking about actual Nationalsozialisten. It's okay, understood.
I don't really pay them much focus, to be honest.
I
Like
mean, that's kind of how the Holocaust happened, so...
They're like those crappy dudes that I knocked out of the supermarket a couple
Yeah.
Huh. Well, they sure as hell were not supernatural.
Yeah, but the one that I met was. He was running for treasurer.
It's entirely possible he just embedded himself within the organization for the perks of the power that the organization provides.
Or he created it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Possibly.
he was the head of it.
Was he dead, or what did you do?
He was very angry. That's about it.
Oh.
Do you guys have a rule here in Dublin, like one apocalypse at a time?
No, I mean, I don't really care much for all of this politicking and world-ending nonsense. Unfortunately, the world-ending stuff tends to force my hand, but still.
And here I was quite satisfied wiping Lord Saishio's floor every day.
That doesn't sound like a particularly enlightening profession.
He said, wait for me. So I come there every morning, and at some point they were like, yeah, start mopping the floor. So, who am I to argue?
I mean, you could just walk away.
Are you at least getting paid for it?
I'm not
I'm
walking
paying
away.
her.
He's ahead of my order. Like...
Yeah, we gotta do chores around the pantry sometimes.
If the head
Guess
of
one
my
of
order says mop the floor, I will mop the floor.
There's a
Guess
difference
there are.
between performing basic maintenance and being given an undignified janitorial job.
Good point.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna tell D'Onofrio you said that.
Donofrio throws me off buildings and chucks fireballs at me. I don't really much appreciate that either.
Sideshow threw chairs at me, but that was neither here nor there.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah,
Listen,
true, you were there.
janitorial work is the most important job in healthcare. Like, they prevent bacteria and all that from spreading.
Yeah, but that's not the intent of what Georgie's doing now, is it?
I suppose there's a lesson to be learned, so I will mop the floor.
Yeah, isn't in fact, yeah. I also don't believe you work in healthcare. I believe you work for a highly illegal organization.
I mean,
Head of the local Shinsengumi, so what do you expect?
Jesus.
Georgie just shrugs.
I've had dealings with some of his underlings.
The guy
Big-
gets his money through that. Who am I to argue? Like, I'm already happy that I still have my apartment. Like, why do you think I come here for the free coffee?
Hmm.
Hmm. I'm looking for a place to crash anyway. I'd be more than happy to pay the rent while I'm around, if you would happen to have a room free.
I mean, you can probably live in my. You can probably use my bedroom. I'll go sleep on the couch. That's fine.
Yeah, just for a short time until I've organized myself, either an apartment or a small bungalow somewhere. I'm planning to stick around for at least the rest of the year. There is research to be done, and world endings to stop.
And here I thought it was a nice idea to go to Dublin because it would be less crowded than London. Great job, universe. Great job.
You are tied to the world of the supernatural. Be crowded wherever you go. Everybody knows everybody.
I mean, there's still a difference between crowded London style and crowded Dublin style. It was too
Who's
many
that
people
baseball coach, dude?
Pardon?
The baseball coach, dude. I think he's a Koshik too.
I have no idea who the baseball dude is.
Georgie, you met him.
Yeah, I did.
I
And
apparently met him twice, though I don't remember the first time.
well, I'm pretty sure you're definitely. Well, I'm not pretty sure. You are right. He is Akashic indeed. He is definitely someone who deserves the most respect you can give.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Abner. Did I scare you?
Since I have the chance of also having some people from the Hermetic Order around, what do you guys think of D'Onofrio? As a mentor, I guess.
I mean, she's not my mentor, but she's pretty cool. She's a good person.
I'm getting a very military vibe of her dress.
No. I mean, have you actually hung out with her for more than 10 minutes?
I didn't yet have the chance to do that. I was watching somebody being portaled half to death.
I'm back. Found a way.
I didn't realize you had left.
Oop.
The computer tried to crash on me again, but I found a cheat.
Yay.
If I go to Task Manager, if I go to sign out instead of going to Task Manager as it shuts down, I think I may be able to bluff it.
Yay.
But yeah.
So a militaristic vibe, huh?
Militaristic what, sorry?
They're talking about the Nofre.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess you could consider her an extremely powerful battle mage.
Hmm.
But that really doesn't do her justice. She's capable of a lot more.
Yeah. If she's really mad at people, she'll burn their nipples off with nuclear fire.
Right, who wants another coffee?
Sounds childish enough to be enough for you.
Oh no, that's like an actual thing she does.
Yeah, I know.
Georgie will
Oh,
get up and we'll grab a coffee. Like, being away from this conversation sounds like a good plan for a while.
you guys go for it. I just realized, I've got an appointment I have to fulfill. Anyway, good luck. Maybe see you later. I have to bounce. And Damien grabs his stuff.
Afternoon, Damien.
Actually, just a sec. And he produces one of his calling cards and holds it towards you. In the case you ever need an archaeologist. And he then runs off.
Fearless will take it and go, that's just the man for me.
Yeah, I don't think Georgie will walk back. Don't think you would have much use of a pilot. But hey, in case you ever need a pilot.
A pilot. Well,
I don't have a plane though, so you would need to fetch that as well. I'm basically useless.
if at some point a crew of power to construct some sort of umbral ferrying device, then maybe.
You know, I sort of was joking, right? But
You can always talk to Alexandros. He'll just build you a plane.
I have not necessarily need for a plane. But like when it comes to the qualities that we have that might be useful to anyone, well, there's not much that I can offer.
Are you a fighter? Like a flying fighter or something?
I used to work for the RIF, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. Fia just kind of regards you curiously upon hearing that.
Her coffee looks really interesting right now.
Yeah, but all of your characters from just in coffee, Saskia. This isn't new.
Because coffee is life, Chris. Coffee is life. Accept it. She'll actually grab from her jacket, she'll grab a little flask and pour something in the coffee.
What does it look like?
It is a clear liquid.
What's it smell like?
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol?
Wow. Alcoholic coffee, really?
They're called
Um,
orange coffees.
well,
I'm not one to judge.
But yeah, uh, I'm not as well versed in magic yet, and like probably most people here, but I might be able to help you with that map. I'm a little bit versed in mind magic.
Same.
Did Chris crash again, or is he just not hearing us? Yeah, he
Oh,
crashed again. I knew
there he
it.
is.
I can't throw. I'm restarting my PC right now.
Oh. So yeah, if you need some help with that map, I don't know. I'm probably not as good as most people that I've met here so far. My magic is not that far developed yet, but I have some mind magic.
Uh, I prefer to work it on my own, to be honest. I'd
Oh, fair
rather
enough.
I'd rather earn it, as you will.
Hey, if that's what makes you dick hard.
All right then.
Hi.
Uh,
Welcome to the scene.
what I'm saying is I'd rather earn the reward and likely the power. Or my death. I guess it depends on what's there.
Um, where are we right now?
We're in a
Library.
library.
Oh well, okay. Like the library or just a library?
A library.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was the big library with the that we went into that one time. Um, so from behind a bookshelf, you hear that. There's a unfamiliar face peeks around from the corner. Hi.
Hello.
Oh.
She's carrying I guess what looks like books on something related to medicine, maybe. And she'll come down and sit down. Are you guys sitting at a table or standing or?
I think we're
Table.
sitting.
Yeah.
Okay. So she'll come sit down next to you. She'll pull out a chair and she'll set her books down on the table. She's reading about um um probably something related to what happens to bodies after death.
She's a mortician.
She is a medical examiner. Um, so not necessarily the same thing. Um, and she's gonna turn on spirit sight, I think. Hold on, let me put my character sheet up. 'Cause I'm really good at this. Um, and I don't know what that would give me actually. But she's gonna look at all of you. She's actually met Minnie's character before, so Minnie would Minnie, what's your Kim? What's your character's name? Is Minnie, right? Right? Kimberly.
I think she BRBs, maybe.
Okay. Well,
But
um,
yes, it is. Oh, she can't
yeah.
hear anybody.
Oh, yeah. She's Natalie's met Minnie before. Only once, but she's met her. Um, so I'm not sure what spirit sight would give me about. I'm so new to Mage. I have no idea.
Don't think anything from Georgie, really.
Okay.
Theodis, Theodis has he's formally dressed, but otherwise looks unremarkable.
She's just she's probably wearing scrubs, maybe and a jacket. She's got a backpack. Her hair's pulled back. Looks tired. She actually does have um a work badge on her clothes. And she'll look at the two of you and she'll introduce herself and says, "Hello, I'm Natalie. I don't think I've met either of you before. Are you friends with her?"
Yes, Theodis Crane, pleasure.
Oh, nice to meet you. And you are, ma'am, your
Oh,
miss.
Georgie.
Ah, Georgie. I like your hat.
Me too. You can buy it, €10.
I mean, I don't want to take your hat.
I mean, what's a hat if I can get dinner?
Do you need money?
No, not a charity cause. Yet.
Oh, I mean, I'll buy you dinner. So actually, she'll pull out a 20-euro bill and hand it to you.
What's it with all the people here in Dublin that are just trying to give me random money?
I
What's
don't
the
I
name
know.
of the
mean,
guy that just left? Damien? Like
I
last
mean,
time I met him, he gave me a couple of €100. Like,
I
I
mean,
mean,
he said you needed dinner, so
yeah, but
give.
I'm not
I mean,
I'm not sitting out in the streets begging for my money. Like I still have my social security thing.
she'll actually she'll hold the 20 euros in her hand and she'll say for your hat.
Deal. And she'll take off the hat.
Okay, and she'll actually put the hat on and put her feet up. Or no, she's not gonna put her feet up on the table. That'd be rude. But she's gonna put the hat on her head.
Oh, I thought you looked good in that hat. Damn. I'm sad.
You can use that for dinner and to buy yourself another hat.
Quite possibly, given that it only cost me like a euro or something.
Oh well, there you go.
Oh yeah, you can get your look back. Thank goodness.
Picture of her without the hat, though. I need a picture with her without a hat.
Well, I mean, you should have never have sold off the hat. Now you don't
Ah!
have an overlay for it.
There we go. I think this one is through. Okay.
So what club do you guys belong to? If you don't mind my asking, I'm not sure if that's rude to ask or not. I'm still new at this whole thing.
Um. Well, I don't really think there's. Oh wait, that club. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Right. Of course, because you knew Minnie. Yeah, makes sense. No. Um. I was
And
already wondering why you're with us, but hey.
I'm friends with Damien too. Sorry that I missed him.
Yeah, he just ran off.
Yeah. He's a good guy. We're pretty good friends. So
That explains a lot, actually.
about what?
Well, like I said, he was the other one trying to give me money for no apparent
Oh.
reason whatsoever.
Mm.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
That's better.
So yeah, Minnie, you've met Natalie like once. Um,
Do you remember where?
the bookstore and the library TM.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So she sat down. She's got books on like autopsies or forensic pathology, something like that. And she sat down at the table and she's wearing Minnie's hat. Or not Minnie,
Georgie.
Georgie's hat. And she's asking everybody what club they belong to.
Oh, hey Natalie. Well,
Hi Minnie, how are you? I haven't
good
seen you in a
morning.
while.
Yeah, I've been busy.
Uh,
I got really depressed there for a minute.
oh, what happened?
Is it because no one got your one hand clapping riddle correct?
No, it has nothing to do. Like, I am not depressed over the fact that you can't solve a simple mind riddle.
I mean, one-handed clapping, you just slap your leg. It still sounds like clapping.
Well, it's supposed to be
The-
metaphorical, but to be completely honest, I've always seen such things as very lazy, frankly, lacking applicability to the real world, but that's just me.
That's why you don't understand the mind sphere. No, that's the wrong answer. You're saying the riddle wrong. It's the sound of one hand clapping.
Okay.
Well then, why are you giving me that riddle? Because you're the one who presented that to me, not the other way around.
Because you said you wanted help understanding the mind sphere.
So why did you give me an incorrect riddle? How am I supposed to solve a riddle when the very premise itself is incorrect?
Natalie looks, and she's sitting there.
That doesn't breed understanding. It literally breeds misunderstanding. Because it's like starting at a racetrack but going in reverse, or starting in reverse gear.
Well, to be fair, to understand the mind, you have to have an objective standpoint, which means you have to see all of it, both understanding and misunderstanding. Because when you understand the misunderstanding, you're not misunderstanding anything.
You can understand the source of misunderstanding, but that's not the same as having misunderstanding.
I mean, yeah.
I don't
I'm just
really
saying.
breed to the idea that ignorance breeds strength.
I mean, ignorance doesn't breed strength unless that ignorance is spread amongst
But that's
a
not
very
true.
large population, because strength in numbers is still a thing.
Well, actually, no, I would say ignorance can breed strength. I suppose it depends. One can believe in something that is wrong so truly that it empowers them.
I
Like
mean,
Nazis.
I was just thinking that. Yeah. She'll turn and she'll nod at Minnie like, yeah, I was literally just thinking about Nazi Germany.
Well, I don't think Nazi Germany is the answer to one hand.
No, but it is a parallel to what you were just saying about how ignorance can breed strength.
No, it's a shame though. Still, understanding is always more powerful.
It's true.
I mean, I could give you the answer to the riddle if you want.
Sure,
But,
why not?
I'm curious.
Sorry. She'll look at you guys, clap her hands together, and say, "Two hands become one with the sound of a clap."
Oh well, she's right there. I gotta say.
Theodus looks incredibly unconvinced and actually looks somewhat vindicated in his opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, so clubs. What clubs do you guys belong to?
I
I'm
feel like
curious.
I'm fairly typecast, but still.
You're a hermetic, aren't you?
Yes.
Ah, that explains so much. I see. Okay. Damien. Oh my gosh, Damien.
Damien comes back in, muttering something to himself in German as he's looking on a phone and just goes, oh well, so much for my meetup. That has been cancelled. He seems to have catch some form of flu. Hello there.
Hi. She's wearing Georgie's hat.
What do you mean that explains so much?
Out of character, vampire?
No, I'm
No.
playing my mage.
Okay, sorry, my mistake.
Is it showing up?
Yeah,
as
Clan
Scarlet?
Toreador, that's why. Sorry, out of character. You
That's
by the
okay.
picture.
Oh, it's damn it. I've got my mage picture up, so I don't know. But no, it's Natalie. You have nothing to be afraid of, I promise. Plus, it's probably
Hey!
like the middle of the day, so.
Good. Anyway, so back in. Hey, Natalie, how are you doing? And
Hi,
he goes
David.
and gives her a hug.
Hi, Damien. I'm good.
Stealing hats, I see.
No, buying hat.
No, fair enough.
Yeah. I liked her hat, so I gave her 20 euros for it.
Oh dear.
Georgie just
Oh.
shrugs. Yes, I don't mind.
So, she'll look at Georgie and she'll be like, she'll just like hold her hands up like so.
And Georgie kind of shrugs and says, "You know what? I kind of like the guessing game."
I mean, I really only know about um what is it, hermetics and the cult of ecstasy, because there was this guy, I can't remember his name for the life of me. He had really curly hair, and something, I think Lord Siren was there, something like that. I don't know. He was working on a, a paper. I don't know. I don't remember his name. And then I know Damien. And
he waves.
and the Verbena, but beyond that, I'm not really sure. I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
But you're the one who wants to know.
I'm just offering. You don't need to be rude.
Oh,
What?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come off as rude or anything.
What?
Sorry. She'll look up. She'll look at Theodis and she'll just say, "Sorry, I'm really new to this."
Okay. What organization do you belong to?
A disparate one.
Oh, I've already met one of those.
It's the Bata'a, I think is what they're called.
Never heard of those.
I think I've heard of you in passing, and that's about it.
Well, I think we're pretty few and far between. I really don't know.
One could even call you disparate.
Yeah, one probably could.
I prefer that anyway over orphan, even though in a funny way it's very fitting for me.
I mean,
I guess it.
Orphan, independent, freeman, doesn't really matter. It's
I'm
just
a free agent.
label.
free agent's a free agent.
Yeah, and I don't have anyone constantly bossing me about.
I mean, that's always good to have. But that also means that we don't have anybody to give us direction when we need it.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of on our own a lot of the time because of that.
Although I heard something of a disparate alliance and wondered where one might be able to sign up.
That could definitely come in handy, especially for one such as myself. She'll actually she pulls out a journal out of her bag with a pen and she writes something down in it. And she put the journal back. Damien, you'll notice she's got several books set on the table in front of her. They're medical books. So probably something to do with like autopsies or forensic pathology or something like
that. Damien will give. He'll be reading the spines of the books as they are put down, and just slowly nods to himself. Oh, I even recognize that one. I had to read it up for my osteology module.
Yeah, it's just some light reading, really.
And I'm trying to plumb the umbral depths. Yeah, also some light reading.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna go get some coffee. Do you guys want to come?
I'll come along. I really could need a coffee right now.
I mean, the machine is right there. She points to the.
I mean, I was
machine.
talking about the coffee shop down the street. Unless you guys just want to stay in the library.
It's free coffee here.
I mean, the coffee at the coffee shop's a lot better.
Yeah.
And what if I invite everyone for a coffee or two, and also a bit of cake if they want?
Hold on.
I'll cover you, Georgie.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Thanks, man. Oh, by the way, Natalia. Sorry, what was your name? Natalie.
Natalie.
I'm an Akashic, if that's what you really want to know.
She just nods and smiles. In character, that probably doesn't mean anything to her.
It's the yes, I understand face, but he doesn't actually understand.
Right, exactly, because she's so new to all of this that she's just like, okay, sure.
And the local head of the Akashic Brotherhood is Lord Sideshow.
I mean, there was that baseball guy that Lord Sideshow seemed to be pretty cool with.
I mean,
yeah, but as far as I understand,
sure.
he's not the head. He just comes here for a visit. Like, Sideshow runs the Department of Dublin, so to speak. I'm pretty sure the other guy, I keep forgetting his name, runs more than just the Department of Dublin. Oh, wow. What was that? Who dropped nails?
No, that's Abner. He's a jingly
Uh,
boy.
okay, check.
He said I have his pet permit and his chip numbers on his collar. So whenever he shakes, he jingles.
Jingles. Aw.
So, coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee it is.
See it is?
EBRB for a moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's at least wait until he's back. So, what were you guys talking about while I was away? He says with a smile.
They asked for the solution to the riddle.
And
Would you like to know as well?
I actually would, yes. It it has been making, yeah, I've been thinking about it all the way.
So she'll look at him, she'll clap her hands, and then she'll say, 2 hands become one with the sound of a clap.
Aha. Okay.
we were also discussing the philosophy of understanding and misunderstanding and ignorance and strength.
Yeah, some good communication is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy definitely helps as well.
Listen, I was asked to help out with the idea of understanding the mind sphere. I gave a riddle. But since you didn't solve it on your own, it doesn't really help.
Maybe, but there's at least one thing I realized. It depended on the way how I viewed the riddle, because I'm still so used to thinking of the physical world as the physical world, and the laws of science and all that. When 2 hands come together, I thought, well, technically the molecules are not touching; it is force fields.
That's why you don't understand the mind sphere.
Ah, well, I'll agree to know that I know very little.
I think that's a good way to start understanding the mind sphere, is knowing what you don't know.
Depends on the person.
Yeah, of course. Out of character, I'm probably going to have to go eat soon, so, if I leave, that's why.
Okay. Bye. So I guess we run down to the coffee shop. Oh, should we go to the Disparate Alliance coffee shop? The Hollow One coffee shop?
I've never been there before. Would love to.
Sure, no problem.
It's just like a regular coffee shop, except for it's run by the Hollow Ones.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
You're part of the Disparate Alliance.
I mean, I gathered that, but I don't know what a hollow one is. Anyways, let's go get coffee. Theodos can catch up.
There's a guy at the counter. He's wearing 8 chains around his neck.
Natalie's just gonna order her coffee and something to eat. Probably like a sandwich or something. And go sit down.
Minnie will also order her coffee and have Georgie be on the same order so she can pay for it.
Georgie is looking over the menu and finally will settle for a triple espresso.
Damn.
She's looking at the sandwiches, but also at the pies, and she seems to be a little unsure of what to pick. Then she's gonna just compare prices and finally settles for like the cheapest thing on the menu.
Uh,
Just her chin. You know what? I'm gonna get one of everything, and everybody at the table could just share.
Sounds good.
Oh, that works.
Yeah. And when it comes to paying, she puts some money there. Damien will also slip a few bills just to check that everything is properly covered. And also give the waiter a nice tip.
Georgie is pretending that she's not looking wide-eyed with like all that money and how easily people can spend all that.
Listen, Minnie has the resources.
Hmm.
And Damien has resources 3, so, he can treat people occasionally.
I've got resources 4. Medical examiners make a lot of money.
I can throw fireballs. Does that help?
You
Yes,
and me
it
both.
I mean, not in a coffee shop. I would really not suggest that. We went
Tragic.
to the we went to the Disparate Alliance coffee shop.
Okay.
She's actually Natalie's gonna sit down next to Damien, and she's actually she's gonna hand him some notes.
Damien has high enough awareness 3 and also alertness, so he will try as discreetly as possible to take them over to his side and pocket.
For Theodis, the guy behind the counter is wearing 8 chains around his neck. Most of them seem to be jewelry pieces, but there's one that's definitely just like a regular chain used to like close off fences. That's locked with a padlock.
I still have spirit sight up, so
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
oh, I still have spirit sight up, so I don't know if that would tell me anything about the guy at the counter.
He pings as a mage.
Okay.
I don't think that's what happens with spirit sight. That would be prime.
I mean, Spirit 1 you can read auras with.
Okay, fair enough. I stand corrected.
Okay. I'm still learning about Mage, so just be patient with me.
So mages have a sparkly aura.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
everybody here will be sparkly.
It's all sparkly and stuff. She'll probably turn it off when we go sit down. She'll turn and look at Damien, and she'll just say, "Those are for later."
No problem. And he gives her a wink and a smile. Something that for characters who have a dot or 2 in empathy becomes obvious is Damien seems a good deal more relaxed around Natalie than basically anyone else. And there's a certain sparkle in the eye.
I'm sorry, guys. I just figured out a way to get my dog to come to me without having to like yell at him, like "Come here, come here." I do finger guns, and he'll walk up to me.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That is meme worthy. Oh, holy shit.
That is the first dot in animalism.
Georgie will again kind of slip. This time a lot more discreet. Sorry. She'll slip like a little bit from her like flask into her coffee.
I don't even if she pulls like something out of her pocket and takes it towards her coffee. Natalie is just gonna like raise an eyebrow. I'm like, okay, whiskey and coffee is the way to go.
I mean, they have that on the menu in Joe Point.
Yeah, I mean, I love Europe.
They usually don't pour enough into it, really.
Well, okay.
Don't stare on the computer. Sorry.
Oh dear.
Give me a minute.
Hey,
Yeah.
Damien.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So Theodis has just taken as he's walked with you guys. Oh yeah, Natalie, you'd notice he walks with an extremely heavy limp with a walking stick.
Okay.
And it is there's clearly something very fucked up with his legs in how he walks. But
Oh,
he
actually,
carries
when she notices that before they walk into the coffee shop, she's gonna
So,
sorry, go
sorry
ahead.
guys. I got a bounce, but Minnie will cover the entire tab. So, bye.
worth.
Okay, cool.
Hi.
Bye bye.
Natalie is actually she's gonna see if she can pull Theodis to the side, and she's gonna kind of like out of earshot from everybody for just a minute, and she's just gonna say, "Have you tried to fix it?"
She looks very confused. Excuse me?
Your limp. I mean, can you? I imagine that's like probably really bothersome.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about these. And he just kind of looks down his legs.
Hold on.
He looks he looks how to say
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to
his
finish this
expression almost.
conversation, and then I gotta go.
That's fine. No, he looks amused out of all things. He says, no and no. I'll get around to it eventually.
I
He
mean,
shrugs.
if you ever want some help,
I'm more than capable, but I appreciate your concern.
no,
He
just
seems very
trying
flat with you.
trying to be nice. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, just thought I'd offer. And she'll um go over and order her coffee. And I gotta go. But you guys have fun.
Bye bye.
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 Fidus will sit down. The rest of the group. He looks how to say. He looks as if he's just rolled his eyes.
A bit exasperated.
Looks a bit exasperated, slightly irritated. Mm. So, Georgie, tell me about life in the Force. Something very distant from you. I'm quite eager to hear about it.
I mean, why? Why would you be interested in it? Like, really?
Well, given my occupation and condition, it was never really on the table for me. I'm quite interested to hear the experiences of someone firsthand. You don't have to if you don't wish to speak, if I understand it to be a very
It's
personal matter.
no, it's fine. Like life in as a as an Air Force pilot was pretty cool. You know, I like my wings. Um, I signed up voluntarily, duh, of course. No, it was pretty cool. I was one of the few female pilots actually in our group, so um, that usually got some interesting looks. But yeah, what can I say? I went to Afghanistan, went to Iraq. It is a very interesting opportunity to see the world and do some good. Like definitely. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for. Like most of the time, I was people's. I flew, people shifts on a carrier. Basically from place A to B. Sometimes they wanted me to escort patrols and things like that. I've been in a few situations. Nothing too fancy though. Like I was a good pilot, but was lucky enough to never actually have to, well, the only thing I fired at was definitely the enemy. Let's just go with that. I've had colleagues who were less lucky. It's but the thing that was, I think, most important was the trust that you had among your people, among your peers. You were all there for the same goal. You all had the same ideals, and you knew what everybody was capable of, even if you didn't really know them that well. And that was something that I've never really found anywhere else. It's the brotherhood feeling that you have, being part of one big family in a way. I mean, sure, it was tough, but it was tough on everyone. The heat was killing, though. God, and sand. There was sand everywhere.
That I can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you made friends and made the best of it.
I mean, we all did. We all made the best of it. It invented a lot of games there because you didn't really have a lot of resources there. It's not like you could go to a poker table or something. So you just, you know, we played cards a lot in the evening. But yeah, and it was nice to be able to help, the people there, when you got a chance to do so. It's difficult was that even amongst locals there was just a huge amount of distrust. Like you could see that they were afraid, and so actually quite often they actually asked, especially the female soldiers, officers and whatnot, to go to the locals because they at least appear to be more approachable. Wasn't always the case though, but
They probably thought that, yeah, you were more approachable.
yeah.
Yeah, the cultural thing. Let's just leave it at that.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, glad to hear that. You're finding your sippe, you're finding your group, that you're finding some comradeship. I have to say, feeling a little bit jealous of you.
Mm.
I mean, I'm trying to make friends as I can, and it's slow going because, let's be honest, I'm a bit of a socially awkward fellow. But yeah, at the end of the day, I feel very much that there's only me, and I have to be able to stand on my own 2 feet, because if somebody does something to me, it's not as if I could go to a superior or so and ask for, I don't know, justice or whatever.
Mm.
I mean,
I
being
feel
in
like
the army, kind of, camaraderie is one of the few things that you have. You say that you're jealous, I would not be.
Sorry. I must have misunderstood something. I thought you got the same feeling from the Akashic Brotherhood. But sorry, must have misunderstood something.
Never really been close to a lot of them, so can't really tell.
if nothing else, I believe all of us here are socially awkward. We've all got that going for us.
Yeah. So, Theodus, what do you do for a living, or what should I say? What do you do to keep yourself busy?
I'm currently working on my PhD.
In what, if I may ask?
Actually, I'm gonna look it up so I can specifically get it right for him, because he actually what was it? What was his thing that he was looking into? Classical and ancient history.
Look at that. Like my father.
And I've always been how to say? I've always been interested in history,
There's a lot to learn there.
and always had a more academic mind than an athletic body. So I suppose it just fit.
Damien gives you a wry smile as he looks at his arm and tries to flex, but there is hardly anything to flex there. Strength too.
I mean, strength
Similar
is
here.
average, so
Yeah.
You are the averagest of Joes.
Yes. Even his appearance is 2. Probably with some clothes and maybe a little bit of training, it could go up to 3. Yeah. However, I went for archaeology because I always loved being outside, nature, but I also always was interested in history, and especially prehistory.
Prehistory. It's not something I've touched upon yet, although I've discovered some very interesting finds that have been delivered to me over the past couple of years. I'm still trying to unravel it, understand it. I'm actually going to be looking back into its past quite literally. There's a few inconsistencies with some of the finds that have been sent to me that have piqued my interest.
Finds, you say? Is there at least a rough idea from which time period they hail from? Sorry, I'm an archaeologist. You just piqued my interest.
He has a diary for this reason, which I have not updated in a long time. Oh god. It dates back to approximately 2900 BC. It's a stone plinth. Had some had Enochian symbols on it.
Wait a sec. Enochian. Is that related to Enoch, as in the biblical character?
It's the language that spirits use.
Oh,
Although it's the language of command, they generally don't take too kindly to its use around them.
oh, wait a sec. So that's the language in which you speak the spells that Solomon used. If Judeo-Christian tradition is to be trusted.
Hmm. Yes, or it's although I could, I can also say it's the language in which I invoke my spells into existence.
Damien's eyes grow a bit larger. Oh, really? Okay. Never heard of it before, quite honestly.
It's to my understanding, it is a prehistoric language.
Now that is fascinating.
Exclusive to all but very, very few. It wasn't a, it was a how to say it was a personal language. It was never used on a wide scale within a society. It wasn't a societal language. That's the best way of putting it.
Interesting. How did you learn it, if I may ask?
Members of my order taught me.
Which means that there are probably books on it, which means there might be a possibility of learning it, I would assume.
Yes.
I think I know what I'll be looking for the next time I'm at the Great Library of Dublin. He smiles.
I'll see if I can find something for you.
I wouldn't mind. Who knows? Maybe at some point it would become very useful.
I know, anytime.
Sorry if this is a bit of a personal question, but when you invoke your rotes, do you use symbolism, as in maybe drawing symbols or carving symbols or burning symbols into things to imbue the object with the rote, or how do you do that?
Sometimes it's as simple as drawing something in the air, as if making a signature of your finger, for example. It depends
so you
on
don't.
it depends on the invocation, to be honest.
Interesting. Yeah. The symbols that you use, would you say that they are how should I say? Let's say you want to invoke a rote that includes two different spheres. Do you then just make a symbol that combines the symbols for the representative spheres, or is it a very, very particular one symbol that you use for that? I'm quite interested.
The more spheres involved, the more complex the symbol. It also depends on the purpose of the spell. Usually when I'm, air quotes, drawing, it is often a ward of some sort, or it is it is it is an elaborate order statement or a beseechment that takes me usually a few minutes. But if I was to invoke, it wouldn't be symbols combined, it would be multiple symbols placed against each other normally.
I see. Interesting. I've been, let's just say, appropriating runes and combining them Although, funnily enough, in the books that I found, I would find that the pattern would be mostly what I would have done as well, but then I actually have to push around a few things and reorganize it. But how should I say? I find a template in the book to 80%. I modify it, I trace it, the sphere is activated and does its effect. But maybe I should try and see if I could activate it without having to actually put it on the object.
You could make the attempt. I've done such a thing in the not too distant past. It is possible.
Well, anyway, thank you for the information. That will definitely give me some input that I can use later on. Let's just say that I never really found somebody to mentor me or similar, so I simply went for traditions that I could find in the past and guess appropriating them to a certain extent. Yeah, I'm sure I could say it in a better way.
Oh no, I understand. It's perfectly fine. But no, I appreciate your input. And I may, if it's not too much trouble, I may end up calling on your services at some point myself.
If it has to do with those fines, I'd be more than interested. It's been a while since I've actually done something in my field. Becoming a mage, awakening, figuring things out, chasing leads, yeah, has distracted me a little bit.
So, how did that happen to you then?
How did what happen, sorry?
You know, how did you guys find out? What was it called? Awakening? How did you guys awaken?
Oh,
If it's too personal, sorry. Like, I don't want to, you know.
the world appeared very different as I was walking down a hallway to the local library. Briefly wound up in the past. Met my avatar, lovely lady. As an axe was thrown at me. Then she transported me to 18th century France. Pre-revolution. We sat down in Chancellor's office and the lovely chat about the nature of reality and what on earth was happening.
Huh. Specifically detailed. But interesting.
Oh, then I woke up within. I say woke up. I was on the floor within the library when I made my way back to the present era. And had discovered that I had managed to erase all the text from every single book in the library, which was rather frustrating.
Sorry. I'm not laughing at you, but I can imagine for someone who's more academically inclined, of course.
Well, I have a lot of respect for books, but also because, well, I was really just going there to do a bit of studying, and now I couldn't. And then I ran into D'Onofrio, who, well, sensed the chaos and was rather nonplussed at me vandalizing a massive library's worth of content. Then she teleported me up to the roof, and we had another lovely chat about the nature of reality.
And let me guess, she pushed you off the roof.
No, I couldn't. I could have slowed myself down, I suppose, but I wasn't really in a position to do that particular moment. No, she did that a lot later. She does it on a rather regular basis, and it's
Yeah, we got a
highly.
demonstration
Mm,
at the Green Dragon.
Why? Why would she do such a thing? Is it educational in a way?
It's meant to be educational. D'Onofrio is very. Well, I suppose we're both very on the nose as people, but she is very blunt in how she tries to teach, how to educate people. She's very much. She's the sort of person who would. Who, if you're afraid of swimming, is just going to push you into the pool.
Into the deep end, I might add.
I mean,
Quite
And
literally sink or swim.
it's
yeah,
effective, I suppose.
It's annoying. I'd rather just read. I'd rather learn that way.
Yeah,
But
but
no, I'm
no
falling
offense.
off a skyscraper. That's
You're not learning from staying within your comfort zone.
amen to that. And he has a sip of his coffee.
no, but I can learn from my comfort zone, and from that, apply it outside of my comfort zone.
Sometimes
However, if you don't do field work, you don't get the experience you need.
I've done plenty of field work. I just don't appreciate being teleported 1,000 feet into the sky and being told to float down. It's fine.
Well, yes, that is completely unnecessary. I find that lady to be rather extreme.
I
she
mean,
sounds interesting.
in my heart of hearts, I very much appreciate her, but still, I don't necessarily think we see eye to eye on my education. That's neither here nor there. Clearly, I still exist, so it's worked to some degree. I can't deny it's been successful.
Yeah, she regularly mentions that we are at war, and similar sentences come out. And well, apart from the obvious situation right now, I wonder if she's also referring to previous calamities.
Perhaps. D'Onofrio isn't wrong. We're very much at war.
I mean, ultimately, you can have a soft teacher, but that won't necessarily teach you anything.
Well,
I'd rather avoid 1,000 shares than, having one hit me that is not sent by my sensei.
I wouldn't necessarily call one extreme any better than the other. It's not really what one should be aiming for when one perceives what they believe to be an extreme. They shouldn't be comparing it to the other extreme. They should be comparing it to the moderation. The moderation.
I agree with that. In my experience, extremes tend to be very painful or need drastic corrections, while if you're able to establish balance in a system, things go more smoothly.
I find extreme solutions are, well, when the situation it's in itself has become extreme. In other words, when a large amount of force is applied to you, you must apply a large amount of force in return.
Yeah, the balance has to be addressed.
That said, I suppose I'm not for all forms of balance. I do not subscribe to the fallacy of the middle ground, so I suppose it is a matter of I suppose it is something
Terminology?
well, it's something that can be addressed on a case by case basis, I suppose. Sometimes you'll have ideas, concepts, or actions that do not adhere to a balance, but are just as valid, if not even more so, than what would have been the moderate or balanced approach. And of course, one could even apply the idea of balance as nothing more than sitting on a fence.
I mean, balance usually creates static, which means nothing really happens because everybody is sort of content. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, we should always imbalance things, but sometimes if you have to be effective, you just have to.
Yeah, to be fair, I agree very much with Theodos there. Of course, well, as the saying goes, there is always an exception to the rule, which confirms the rule, paradoxically.
Hmm.
I don't know, perhaps it's a difference in mindset. I'm more of an action person myself, so I don't think static or the middle ground is like.
Oh, well, if I have to tackle somebody because they are possessed, I've already done that in the past without much thinking. That just seemed like common sense to me.
Hmm. Well, I suppose this is something we could discuss for a very long period of time.
That would probably be boring.
Yeah, probably. On a different subject, Theodos, have you come across the concept of either the triad or trimurti, the cosmic one? What was that?
The worm, the weaver, and the wild, and the three concepts they represent.
Just a sec. He goes, takes his notebook, really goes to the beginning of the notebook and shows you Guru symbols drawn with pencil. And yeah, does your character does your character recognize them as Guru symbols?
He probably wouldn't recognize Guru symbols. He has spirit law, he doesn't have Garu law.
Huh. He sort of goes, yeah. Could you also call Wild the thread maker, Weaver the thread, well, the pattern maker, and then Worm the pattern breaker, the entropic part that allows things to return or to die so that new branches might grow in an evolutionary sense, for example.
That is effectively what the Triad are meant to do, although they're currently not in balance.
I just wanted to say that is actually very interesting. He shows you a different picture where before in three triangles you had Wild, Weaver, and Worm properly balanced. You see a triple triangle on its head. In the center, you see the symbol. You see a coiled symbol. So that is the pattern breaker worm, and then he shows two weavers. This is supposed to represent that there is too much stasis around, and Wild is at the very bottom, slowly dying because there isn't enough space for it to be wild. Yeah, that's the reality as I see it as well. But I first saw these symbols when I awakened. Well, shortly before, to be precise.
That's very interesting. It would not surprise me if the overbearing attitudes and actions of the technocracy has led to an overabundance of stasis.
Everything is too static, and as we know, if things go static, they start putrefying, they start stagnating. There we go.
This
And
is
that's bad because it is driving entropy mad. I mean, the spirit that personifies entropy.
I believe he kind of thinks for a moment. So if I do recall, the worm is currently in a state of constant madness due to the both metaphysical and literal trappings of the Weaver has caused it to go into a rampant state of both destruction and corruption. It has caused it to regress.
I would say it has caused it to, well, go mad and turn from a force that, like a gardener, clipping at a fruit tree so that it will bear better fruit. It just has gone into everything must be destroyed mode and is basically trying to gnaw at the roots of the world tree, if one wants to take a Norse view of that. Just lash out to everything and become a defiler. That is something I've sort of picked up on when dealing with entropy. If it's more the traditional one, like rust and so on, it tends to be okay. But when I come across certain people who have like drenched themselves in it, they tend to be more like defiled beings. There isn't an intelligence to it anymore, and that really worries me.
Forces both Marauder and Nephandic are extremely dangerous to all of us. No less so than the technocracy.
Who are the Nefandi?
And then Theodus realized he fucked up.
I mean, probably Georgie would be asking, Marauders?
I think that's something you should ask our superiors, not me. I'm not qualified to answer that question.
That's okay, but if I'm just taking the few things you've said and the context, oh dear. Let me guess. One of the two, either Marauder or Nefandi, are mages that might be overzealous with their entropy, maybe even have gone mad and basically become Nexi of destruction. Am I roughly right there?
Well, ultimately, it appears all reality is tied to these three concepts. This can even be found within the metaphysical idea that many mages refer to as the wheel, or the cycle. That all of these ideas feed into each other in a continuous infinite loop. And some are closer to certain forces than others. Sometimes this can be beneficial, sometimes they can be self-destructive or consuming extremes. I usually find that they are generally all consuming extremes. I have yet to find a fully entropic force, for example, that is wholly good or ultimately good. In the same way that I have not found any dynamic forces, although I've seen much less of those, to be truly good. And of course, the force of the technocracy is one that is static in its entirety. Which is rather ironic, considering that it is an organization that initially desired nothing more than human protection of humanity from reckless use of magic and ultimately human advancement and prosperity, as opposed to stagnation, stasis, and control.
Yeah, which we are experiencing in comparison to some other centuries. I've got the feeling there might be technological advancement, but it tends to be more for the normal masses, tends to be more entertainment, things that distract people, things that monitor people, things that take their rights away. Let's put it that way. And I don't think that's something good. Not at all.
By the way, in the meanwhile, while you're both talking and, most of the things are not really up to Georgie's alley because she's not a academic figure per se. But there's a lot of food on the table and it's slowly disappearing.
Yeah, Damien will be grabbing some cake.
Oh,
But
and we have Bishop's
again, I did it again. The absolute
You
man.
did it again. Poof.
But no, what sorry. Oh, something actually both of you can note is that Theodus very much... I mean, Theodus has literally just spoken on the origins of the technocracy and literally has just more or less stated specifically this is what their motivation was, period. I know this. As opposed to musing on it.
Yeah. You're speaking from a point of authority there. Sorry, I couldn't help but notice.
I've stumbled onto some interesting things in my admittedly very short lifespan as a mage.
How long have you been a mage? Roughly. Just
2 years.
roughly. Oh, that's a year more than I have.
But yes, not all that long.
Yeah.
I
I've
suppose
got...
it helps when you're like, in a city where a lot of things happens. I've been a mage for a little longer, but most of my time was spent somewhere where not a lot of things were happening.
Where was that?
Afghanistan.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Out of character, didn't one of the characters ask, so how did you become mages?
Yeah, Georgie asked.
Sorry, Georgie, I'm not sure anymore. Did I already tell you how I awoke? Since you asked. Or
No.
have I forgotten that? Okay. I'll try to keep it brief.
Fair.
A little more than a year ago, I was working as an assistant for a professor of archaeology back in Salzburg. The professor was known amongst archaeological circles as how to put it, eccentric. Yes, definitely. But he was also quite well known of having a almost, and he uses big quotation marks there, an almost magical ability to find ruins, burial sites that had been lost to history. And he was a very interesting fellow. Looking back on it, he was feeding me esoteric knowledge, but always couching it in, yes, this culture and that culture used to believe, and so on and so forth. Anyway, we got ourselves organized. He was pretty sure he had found a very interesting Bronze Age burial site in the Austrian Alps, region of Styria, if I remember correctly. And we had just set up camp, had found a place, were walking around, and hey presto, there is an entry to a cave that obviously had been covered by earth, but a recent earth and rock slide had opened it. Or at least that's what I thought. Who knows if if he hadn't used some forces on that. But later to that. Anyway, we enter the cave, and it turns out that it is literally full of, and he raises his notebook with all the guru's glyphs on them, covered and telling a story. The story about you called it the triad, right?
Yes, the triad,
And
the triad is normally what it's referred to.
Yeah, and Damien makes a note of that, not triumvirate, triad. Anyway, So we were in there, and of course, very excited. I'd never seen any pictographs of that kind. We were looking around. We found human remains, most of them. Some of them had elongated snouts, canines, generally wolf sort of appearance in the bones, deformations, I thought. And of course, there were grave goods down the bucket load. We were actually really lucky. Nobody had despoiled that Bronze Age burial site for quite a while. But yeah, so I took two objects, a piece of amber, and he will very gently produce, looking out of his bag is the head of a Bronze Age axe, properly polished up, sharpened, half did, the full works, and he puts it back in his bag again. So I'd put those two in my pocket, was just to go around to the professor and say, hey, look what I found. And I found some bipedal 3 meters, maybe even almost 4 meter tall monstrosity covered in fur, a bat snout, white eyes, crooked teeth. Anyway, it was a mess. It was horrifying. I was running for my life, and it had apparently snapped the head of the professor, and it was coming for me, cackling. Almost something between a wolf and a hyena in sound. It's I still don't like to describe it. Anyway, to cut a long story short, at some point I found myself in a cul-de-sac in a warren of caves, and it was just coming closer, gnashing its teeth at me, making gestures that it probably was going to eat me feet first. And I was crawling for my life, bumped into a blue stone, felt energy go through me. I go unconscious, and the next thing I know, I find myself 10 kilometers away at the entrance of a different cave. Somewhere completely different, without a real idea how I got there. Well, I guess I must have teleported somehow, although I don't have any real connection to, whatever sphere of magic is needed for that. And got back to the cave. Actually, first I went to the village, called for help. They, I and the police go there. We find the professor in a gully with his neck, now this time twice turned around. The cave itself, all the paintings on the walls, gone. All the bones, gone. All the grave goods, gone. And they basically rationalized it that we must have breathed in some fungus and had a psychotic episode or something like that. And I only felt, and he shows the two objects and this piece of amber in my pocket, so I knew I couldn't have hallucinated that. But let's just say I decided after that to just keep my mouth shut and not draw more attention to myself. God knows if somebody was still watching me or whatnot. And okay, to cut it even shorter, I get a packet, Back to the Future 2 style, from my professor, and there he said, yeah, here are some things you should know. And I was using his notes to figure out at least some of the spheres that I suddenly found myself being able to use. It was quite shocking at one point, being able to feel all the insects around me in a field. That was freaky. Or suddenly I was seeing these threads of, later on I would find out that it was entropy connected to people. And over time, I got a bit better and figured it out. But most of the things I know are self-taught or picked up from others. So yeah, that's and ever since then, I was following a lead according to the Blue Stones. Led me here to Dublin, and yeah, here I am, and occasionally getting dragged into adventures.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Impressive.
Thank you. Still feel a bit bad that I wasn't able to follow up the leads on the Blue Stones, but hey, it got me to the auction and to meet other mages, so could be worse.
You will very casually see this gentleman enter into the coffee shop. Rather interesting. What he does is he simply he walks to the bar or to the service area that you'd have in a coffee shop, and he just he moves his hand like across the eyes of the clerk. He's like, "Hello, can I help?" And then just kind of goes. They go entirely silent. At which point he very casually just taps a couple of buttons on the cash register, opens it, removes money, and walks out.
Ah, that I think my code of honor will get into play there. Fuck. So Georgie notices that, and she'll just gets up and says, "Hey, you, put that back."
Hey,
Put what back?
You shouldn't just steal money.
What's Georgie's current willpower?
Oh God. What is her current willpower? I think it's 5. I
Okay,
think it's
let's see.
5.
Let's see if we can just do this.
Let me
I,
check
I
this.
just think it'll be fucking funny.
Oh no,
You know,
sorry,
what
it's
money?
7. It's 7.
On the side note, we may have made a mistake last night. I may have clogged my own dice roller rolling Game of Thrones houses at 4 o'clock, at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was hilarious.
Oh God.
They rolled well. That we weren't sure what that looked like, considering the last house we rolled was House Dasip.
Hmm.
Sorry, give me just 1 moment. So that's going to be 4, and it's going to. Your willpower was 5. Did you say?
No, sorry, 7. I just checked it. It's 7.
Okay, so that means it becomes difficulty 10 minus. He's going to spend 3 quintessence, so it means maybe difficulty. I very much doubt he's going to succeed. He does not, because you need 3 successes. He can continue the casting. You sense when he says what, you feel it's like he's exerting something into your mind, like a suggestion.
Huh. I mean, yeah, Georgie would just simply grab him and says, "Don't dare! Don't you fucking dare!"
Whoa, kid, calm. We're gonna be calm. We're gonna be zen, aren't you? You guys really good at zen? Yeah, zen. Yeah.
Stay the fuck out of my brain.
that voice sounded oddly familiar.
Oh, did it now?
It sounded very much like a certain king.
What? Sorry.
It sounded like a certain monkey king I'm aware of.
You are free to interpret that voice how you will. It does sound eerily similar.
I don't think Georgie met him, but you know, that's
I tell you what. You're an Akashic, right? So we're gonna make a little deal. If you can put me flat on my back, I'll not only give you the money back, I'll grant you 1 wish. However, if you can't, I'm gonna take something from you.
No, what? Okay, Thetis is gonna he's gonna start dawdling towards him, and he's just gonna walk up to this guy, and he says, "What the hell are you doing here?"
Getting a handful of dollars. Oh,
Yeah,
you're
why though?
'Cause I want
Sure.
I could just give you the change.
Ooh, can I have some change?
If you put the money back.
Can I have both?
No.
So wait, you're telling me I can't have or do something?
It is odd that I'm actually telling you you can't do something.
I will take your deal.
No, oh my god, why? Don't say these things.
Please
Why?
don't.
I've just...
Deal with the devil, for crying out loud.
I hate... Okay. Okay. He'll look to the...
He's
He'll
not
look to
gonna
the...
steal from innocent people, and if this is the
No,
only
no,
way
no,
I
no,
can
no,
get
no,
it
no,
back,
no, 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 no.
Too late, buddy boy. She's already said yes. And in that moment, I heard Theodos die on the inside.
He just gives the longest sigh, which lasts much longer than his physical capacity should allow for. In fact,
That
he
is
may
that
just...
is what we will refer to. There's the phrase for this. It's literally called hermetic exasperation.
Okay. He'll just...
Here's an offering to do it all.
He'll just turn to mysterious stranger man and just say, remind me to mute all of my colleagues for next time they do or say or act in any way.
For the record, when Georgie turns back, she is facing this individual.
yeah. I'm not quite sure if Georgie has actually met him. Do you remember?
You haven't.
Okay, good.
Theodos
Good
is kind
lord.
of drilling his forehead into his walking stick.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgie will at least recognize him as, like, you know, a spiritual entity.
Mm-hmm.
So she frowns and says, "You tricked me. But it's fine.
That's-
A deal is a deal."
Either that, or you could say a test is a test.
Or a test is a test, if that's what you want to call it.
Good
Very
lord.
well then.
Well,
The
I'm not
Monkey
giving...
King.
Yes.
I do that.
I'm also not
So-
giving you bloody change now.
For the record, Theodos, when you open your wallet, you find all your change is gone.
Give me my fucking...
You know, ironically, because I know Theodos takes public transport, you don't have change for the bus now.
What a dick. What a fucking dick. He knows I get the bus. He knows everything. He knows I get the bus. What a
Dating-
jerk.
Wallet.
I have to dawdle with my shit legs back home now.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Georgie is not laughing. And she'll just toss him the 20 that she got from
You know what? I'm gonna be that guy and use correspondence site to see if I can find where he took my fucking money.
Do you have correspondence 3?
No, only one.
I was gonna say, if you had correspondence 3, you could just teleport home.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I really don't know what I just walked in on.
Hilarity had not ensued.
Oh boy.
I mean,
The
Monkey
Monkey
being
King.
Monkey stealing my fucking money.
I mean, yeah, if Georgie notices that, I don't know, if Theodos is Theodos open about that? Like,
he's
is he
all
actually saying? Okay, then she'll
fucking-
just look at the Monkey King and says, "Okay, you're gonna give him the money back too if I manage to beat you."
Okay.
Quick, before you do that, Damien hands a piece of paper and a pen and asks politely, "Monkey King, sir, could I have an autograph? Big fan."
Oh. He looks at it, he kind of quirks his head to the side, his tail comes out, and he signs it with his tail.
Awesome.
He looks at Georgie and he says, I've got a question. Why is it that you're currently, dying on the inside because you want other people to ratify and give meaning and solace to your existence on the inside?
She gets really red in the face. That's none of your business. Stay out of my fucking head.
No. Come on, hit me.
Oh, I am absolutely
Yeah.
going to interfere.
Are you going to actually try and interfere?
They never said I couldn't interfere.
They didn't.
I
You'll
can
fight the whole lot of you.
I can absolutely cheat.
Where?
Well,
With-
this used to be a nice coffee
where
bar.
are
It's
we?
about to become a supernatural battleground.
We are still at the coffee shop of the Hollow Ones.
I go to the bathroom for 5 minutes and I come back to this shit.
Yep.
Yes.
You spend a lot of time in the bathroom. What the fuck were you really?
I don't know. Maybe one of those skulls with like the portal to Narnia or some shit. Come on, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me.
All right,
Oh,
I'm gonna
right,
I'm
yeah.
gonna cast a spell.
So I guess Natalie's walking out of the bathroom and she sees the Monkey King, whoever he is, and he says, "Hit me." I'd like to hit him in the back of the head.
Okay.
Huh?
Oh my god, I'm ganging up on. No. Well, you know what? You fucking earned it. You stole my money.
Would you guys like me to do this entirely narratively, or would you like me to actually roll these dice pools?
I mean, in all honesty, if Georgie sees that, because fucking code of honor, I already noticed I'm picking a merit and it becomes a flaw, she will actually tell Natalie that don't do that.
I mean, he said hit me.
To me, not to you.
Oh.
So what he does is when you hit him, you do go to hit him in the back of the head. Once again, I'm going to do this entirely narratively. He very slightly pivots on his left foot, so his head just kind of slightly out of the way. So you bet your hand just grazes past him, and you punch Georgie in the face. Oh,
I
there was no
told you not to
damage.
fucking do that.
There's no damage. It's just fun and narrative.
Yeah, it will, but if a certain flaw kicks in, then it might not become that fun anymore. Just saying.
It's not going to kick him. He looks at her and he kind of says, "Well, no, because you're looking for other people to tell you that you're actually worth something, and I'm curious, why is it you don't think you're worth something?" On a side note, please don't try and hit me from behind.
Will you
Oh,
just
and also, if you want to actually punch someone, his tail drops down and he moves Natalie's leg ever so slightly back, and he kind of raises her chin with his tail and puts her arm up ever so slightly. That's a much better stance to punch someone.
Thanks, I'll remember that.
You're welcome.
If we're gonna do it narratively, then at that point, Georgie will,
Wait. I just want to
never
know.
mind. I will shut up.
I just. Sorry, go ahead, Saskia.
No, by all means, go.
Why are we fighting each other?
He stole my money. Well, he stole the cashier's money, but then he stole my money.
Did you ask him to give it back to you?
Can you give me back my money?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm not here to teach you a cosmic lesson.
Okay. Why? So you want
I
to
mean,
teach
you
a
a cosmic lesson if you. I mean, I can teach you a cosmic lesson if you'd like. He just kind of opens a notebook. I'm free next Thursday. Thursday good?
Thursday, 4 p.m. standard.
Cool. There we go. We have a plan.
Oh,
I
Could I have
mean,
one?
Sure. Sure, sport. But no. I'm here to wonder how it is that somebody who used to be who they are lost who they were. They lost their confidence. And I'm curious why it is they now need other people to validate them. As I wait for Saskia.
I mean, Georgie's not gonna give you an answer.
I was going to say she was going to hit him.
Yeah, I mean, she was planning to, at the moment that he corrected someone's stance, to kind of try and sweep his legs from under him and let him fall on the ground. But
Okay.
that moment passed.
I'm going to say, because that's really funny, you sweep his legs. What happens is his tail goes down, his legs go up, and he balances himself on his tail. Your form isn't terrible. But then again, I'm still curious why it is that you don't see value in you.
There's enough value in me. What are you talking about?
That's not strictly true. There's inherently value in everybody.
Well, then there you go. Universe is valuable. Amazing. Hurrah. And she will clap.
No, each one of us is inherently valuable because of the. If you think about the universe as a gigantic beach, every one of us is valuable because of the footsteps we leave upon it.
I mean, that just becomes one big puddle of mess.
No, it becomes art, the interweaving and the interplay of motion and form. Admittedly, sometimes it's chaotic, but it's always beautiful.
So
Damien
if
is
I
thinking
admit that I have value, you basically give them the money back.
Money is not important.
Well,
I
it is
mean,
to the people who are working for it.
To be fair, I need to catch the bus.
why don't you
She
have a
said
bus
that.
pass? I'm an immortal being, and even I have a bus pass.
Well, usually I have money.
So what you're saying is your entire argument is predicated on the fact that you don't want to get a bus pass.
Largely.
I accept this.
Economically speaking, it's probably cheaper for you to buy a bus pass and have to pay for it every single time you get on the bus.
But that's the weird thing. It's become so bloody inefficient these days that I'm actually considering whether or not it is efficient. That's how bad it is. That's how fucked we are as a society when bus passes do not become worth it.
I
So what
mean,
you're saying is the downfall of humanity is entirely predicated upon our failing public transport system.
Yes.
I mean, would you like your own personal cloud?
or buy a car.
I drive with these legs? No, thank you.
But would you like a cloud?
I mean, I wouldn't mind a cloud.
Okay, I'll get
Natalie looks at Theodis and she says, just says, offer stands.
Georgie grabs a flask from her pocket and is now just not even pouring it in the coffee anymore. It's just drinking from it.
Also, why is it that you need that in order to, I don't know, feel something?
Well, trust me, I feel annoyance right now. There you go.
Yeah, because you're looking at parts of you that you don't like looking at, and you don't like having them publicly exposed.
Then maybe not do that.
Or maybe I should, simply because otherwise you don't look at them and nothing gets sorted and nothing gets solved.
I'm fine with that.
Is
No, you're not.
Georgie trying to drink, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Can I use telekinesis so that none of the alcohol comes out?
Yes. You know what? You tip,
no!
basically, you tip it back, and the booze is just not going from your lips. It's not going from the flask to your lips.
She's looking at the Monkey King. Are you doing that? Stop
No.
it. Her.
I'm not doing anything.
I mean, Evan, at some point, if this is going to continue, that certain flaw is going to kick in.
Yeah, we'll kick that flaw in a couple of seconds.
Oh, God. Oh.
The only reason I'm here is because somebody who is very, very dear to you is worried about you, and we're old friends.
Someone who's dear to me.
Yeah, has a fabulous mustache, tends to like to curl up around you. God, I envy him that mustache.
Look, he can talk to me on his own. He doesn't need you for it.
The problem is that you don't listen to him. Because he's become part of your existence, part of the furniture.
I listen to him plenty.
No, you don't.
Who are you talking about?
Georgie will summon her avatar.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, Georgie will summon her avatar.
You can't just summon him. He has to willingly come to you.
And he's not coming? Oh, wow. So she'll actually look up and says, oh, now you're disappearing. Great. Really? Thanks, dude.
Why is it? He looks at you, and it is after this sentence the derangement will, or the flaw will trigger. He says, "It's okay, Georgie. Just because you think people always run away from you doesn't mean they always do."
Oh, God. Okay. You really want me to roll that berserker flaw?
Yes.
Oh god. Oh god. Okay. I just quickly need to see what I actually need to roll for it.
I'm gonna grab Damien and I'm gonna move him out of the way.
Okay.
Damien will not be resisting that. Quite the opposite.
That's really smart. Yes. Let me see. What's happening there? Oh, there's no roll there. Why is there no roll?
I believe you just automatically do it.
Oh god. Oh wait, here. No. Failed willpower roll diff 8. So if I fail my willpower, that's gonna be a problem.
Okay, roll your willpower. Depends.
Oh wow, I'm so good. So Georgie closes her eyes and starts humming something, trying to calm herself down again. Some sort of a repetitive melody.
On a side note, Theodis, you have nice shoes.
Oh, why? Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Why do you think that?
They're all black and shiny.
I suppose they are. Yeah, I guess
I
they
think
are. I thank you.
I think I think now is a good time. Natalie's gonna look at the Monkey King and she's just gonna ask, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm new here and new to all of this. Who are you again?
Sun Wukong, at your service.
Nice to meet you. I'm Natalie Lucas.
It's up to you if your character has ever read Journey to the West.
No.
Okay.
I don't mean to again be rude, but what club do you belong to?
Huh?
Do you have a club?
Huh?
This is the Monkey King from Chinese literature. Journey to the West, if I remember correctly.
He doesn't.
He is.
I guess the club of the august personage. That club.
To answer your question, I am an anthropomorphic personification given pseudo-divinity via the will and the faith of man.
Okay, that works. So you don't have a club or tradition. I'm gonna take that as a no. Okay.
Pats you on the head with his tail, like pat.
You are adorable.
I mean, that remains to be seen.
No.
I mean, look at him. He's adorable. How could you hate a face like that?
He just stole money from these people who are working here.
Did anybody ask him to give it back to them?
Yes.
Monkey King.
Open the cash register. For the record, the woman is just standing there, still entirely entranced. She doesn't seem to move or do anything. She's breathing, but she doesn't seem to notice anything.
I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna open the cash register.
It is full of money.
She's just gonna gesture at the receptacle and she's like, the money's in here.
I needed you to be a hero, or rather, to think you were a hero, or rather to think that you must stand up for those who required you to stand for them. So you did.
And why was it that I needed to do that?
Because I needed to see if you had that spark.
That's just old habits kicking in.
No. Honor is never an old habit. It is a way of life. It is like breathing.
Well, watch me honor this. And she will turn her back around, walk back to the table, sit down, and starts eating again.
They're very broken. Oh well. He hops up out of his chair. He basically sat down on one of the. He's basically kind of sat down on one of the stools next to the bar, or next to the one of the stools next to the service area, and he says, "Ultimately, you cannot necessarily run from destiny, and you cannot hide your face away from your past. Both what is and both what is to come, and what has been all blend together in the dance. Soon you're going to have to come to accept that. And alcohol and decrying how little you care, or seeking the approval of evil men, well, none of the above is going to help.
I am not seeking approval of any evil men.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Well, then you might want to elaborate on that.
You're scrubbing his floor on a daily basis.
He is my superior.
He is also evil, twisted, and wrong.
Even I got to call out that one.
Who are you talking about?
We're talking about Lord Sysho. He runs the Akashics. He's also a human trafficker.
Oh,
amongst other things.
What?
Natalie's gonna look at Georgie, and she's just gonna say, "You don't strike me as the kind of person to take orders from people. He might be your superior, but you are still a person, and you shouldn't be letting other people treat you like that."
She'll stand up after the pretty loud what at the human trafficker. She'll turn around. She looks at Natalie. Well, thank you for that incredibly encouraging answer. Now all my problems have been solved. I finally see the light. Thank you so much. And she walks out the door.
Oh my.
I think that was remarkably productive.
I mean, whenever you're dealing with deep-seated mental psychosis, it's a process. It's a process. On a
I'll
side note,
have it.
he papped Natalie on the head again with his tail.
I don't think she knew, though, that he actually engaged in such criminal activity.
Honestly, based on his parentage, I cannot say much more against him as an individual, because I cannot mock the progeny of my own superiors, I suppose. Yeah, superiors. Let's go with that.
Theodos looks very curiously at that. He kind of tilts his head and narrows his eyes, as in, oh, I see gossip.
Are you trying to ask a question without asking a question, Mr. Crane?
I mean, I already think you know the answer to that question.
His mother is an entity who many of you might know by the name of Izanami.
Yep, that rings a bell. Oh, Izanami.
That's sad.
Yeah, associated with death, amongst other things.
If it helps, his father's an earthly mage who goes by the name of Gravedigger.
Gravedigger? Oh, good lord.
Well, didn't he run the Hellfire Club at one point?
He also has a twin sister whose name is Ikiro.
And how is her nature?
Considering her and her brother have been in an incestuous relationship for nearly 20 years, I'd say pretty twisted.
Damien just looks shocked, and the chin is almost down to the floor.
Okay, then. I mean, if Georgie is under Lord Sysho's tutelage, she's probably gonna.
This does not seem like a healthy feedback loop.
I mean, she might.
I sense very much that there will now be a confrontation that she needed, but I do not know how it will go.
I think that we should be like maybe trying to help her somehow. Is there
This is
any way we can help her?
this is her battle, not yours.
Yes. Why do you think I want you to not heal my legs, if you even could?
Because you want to be able to do it yourself.
There you go.
That's understandable. I just think that supporting each other is important. That's all.
Aww. Aww. He wraps his tail around you and drags you into a hug.
Aw, she'll gladly let the Monkey King hug her.
By the way, Theodos,
Mm-hmm.
Damien pulls out a €50 note and gives it to you. Here, towards a new bus pass.
Yes, everyone give to the charitable case that is Theodis.
If a man's face could look more flat, it would be feared. It would. It would be positively two-dimensional.
That actually seems like a good place to draw a line under the scene, because I sense that Saskia is now going to go and charge at Lord Sideshow.
She might.
Alright, so thank you players for playing, thank you watchers for watching. This has been another scene in Darkness in Dublin. Have a pleasant evening.
Can I point out before I'm going to hit the button that this was not supposed to be an Evan social scene, but it became one.
As
Yay!
usual.